Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good morning, everyone, and good evening, everyone. Today is the 10th episode, episode 10 of Dhammapariyesanā Series, with a subtitle called Abhidhamma for Daily Life, which I started last Wednesday at the same time. And in today's talk, what I will be talking is 12 Akusala Chittas, unwholesome consciousness. There are 12 Akusala Chittas. That means, in short, when you think that you have akusalas in your mind, they all happen only through these 12 chittas, and there's no any other way that you will become defiled. You will become, into different akusalas. So there are only 12 akusala chittas, and you must know these 12 akusalas. Otherwise, you will never know how they are formed, how they exist, how they will go away. So before I move on to these individual 12 akusala thoughts, I wouldn't say thoughts, I would say state of consciousness, because when you understand the three words called chitta, mano, and vinyana, three meaning, they carry three meaning, born with, and then chitta is a thought, and then consciousness has a couple meanings, 8 meanings, but basically we know consciousness mean sensory consciousness types, as well as the bhavanga chitta. But when it comes to Abhidhamma, the chitta is extensive. Now when you say 12 akusala thoughts or chittas, basically there are 89 chittas in Abhidhamma. Those individual chittas carry a bigger meaning of consciousness. So that's why we call it state of consciousness. So I would say there are 12 states of unwholesome consciousness. That's the proper way of translating. And okay, so let me first start with a couple slides, and I think that these slides will help you understand, Abhidhamma in a better way. First, I want to tell you that why many people having issues in understanding Abhidhamma. So this was discussed in last Wednesday's discussion. We started about Abhidhamma, but I want to say in short once again, otherwise people might again fall prey to the same issue. Why is the Abhidhamma so difficult to understand by many people? The main reason is they do not know the analysis and the synthesis. So you should have this analysis perspective and synthesis perspective to understand Abhidhamma. What does it mean? Most people learn the Abhidhamma in a technical sense. Yes, when everyone is asked about whether you know Abhidhamma, yeah, I know 89 thoughts, I know 52 Chaitasikas, I know Rupa, I know Nibbana, I know the names of the books, but it seems that they are not understanding what's happening to them in a daily life. If you know Abhidhamma, you are minimizing your issues, you are minimizing akusalas, right? And you are developing kusalas. And what's the reason? Because you only take it as a technical sense. Yes, you need to take it as a technical thing, but it is not the end. And when you learn Abhidhamma, in a technical sense, then what you have to do is you need to analyze Abhidhamma Dhamma factors, like the chittas, different analyzing methods, and as well as synthesis. That means when you know Abhidhamma, especially these technical terms, technical perspectives, you need to synthesize all Dhamma factors that you know from Abhidhamma. So if you don't understand the analysis, And if you don't bring synthesis into your whole Dhamma, Abhidhamma knowledge, you will never make it to your practical life. So that's the main reason why a lot of people do not feel that they can practice the insights that they learn from Abhidhamma. Okay, so that's the main thing. And okay, this is is a place where you understand what chittas there are in the Abhidhamma. So there are 89 thoughts. As I said, I would say there are 89 states of consciousness. And you see, Kamavachara has 54, Rupavachara has 15, Arupavachara has 12, and Lokuttara has 8. So now the thing is, why I put all these chittas into kind of a triangle. The reason why I put it into a triangle is because you can see when it goes when the classification goes higher, the number of chittas also getting less. Now we are in the Kamavachara world. There are Kamavachara worlds. We will be talking about these Kamavachara realms actually, and they have a lot of chittas. That means they have they are with a lot of sensual kind of chittas. And when you are uplifting your mind, you are attaining Rupavachara, jhanas, and you are having only 15. So chitta, that means the higher you go in the spiritual path, and the lesser you have thoughts, I would say chittas. And see, when you become kind of a Rupavachara jhanic person, and then you will have only 15, and Rupavachara 12. When you become a Lokuttara person, you will have only 8, right? So see, and then there are less chittas when you are up here, right? So that's a very interesting point. So when you are still in the Kamavachara world, just as how we are living now, you have a lot of thoughts, see, a lot of states of consciousness. Okay, so that's something that we need to understand, because the higher you go, the lesser you have, or the shorter the number of chittas you have. Okay, now you might perhaps be confused about what is Kamavachara, because Kamavachara realms, are the subject of Kamavachara chittas. So what are the Kamavachara realms where beings of Kamavachara realms experience in the form of chittas? These are the Kamavachara realms. And I have also prepared in a way how they experience comfort and discomfort, happiness and unhappiness in their sensual life. Now I have brought the Niraya to the bottom, because Niraya is what we call hells. And we know there are 8 hot hells. What do you call hot hells? I mean, how do we name them? Sanjiva, Kalasutra, Sanghata, Raurava, Maharaurava, Tapa, Pratapa, Avijjas. There are 8 hot hells. And then also there are 8 cold hells, like Abbuddha, Nirabbuddha, Hahava, Huhuva, and there are 8 cold hells. Preferably, I would say these could be, cold hells somewhere in the universe. So Niraya has 16 main types of hot hells, 8 hot hells, and 8 cold hells. And then Tirachana Yoni is the second Kamavachara realm. Tirachana Yoni means animal kingdom. All the animals are part of this realm. And Petaloka means a ghost. I would say, I wouldn't say they are, merely ghosts. Petas simply mean departed individuals, so those who have passed away. And there are 4 types of Petas in the Pali Canon. Nijjhamatanhika, Kupipasa, Paradhattvajivi, and Pansapisacha. There are different types of Petas, and they all live in the Peta realm. And Asura is a very interesting type of beings who are also classified into, sort of like we call apayas, because these four are called apayas, right? Only this one is called Niraya. So Asura is said to be a part of this heaven, I would say, Tavatinsa. According to the canonical, descriptions, Asura is, said to have lived in the Tavatinsa. But what happened was that they drank a lot of sura at that time. At that time, when they were living in the Tavatinsa, and then what happened? The head god of Tavatinsa, called Sakka, didn't like them, so he sort of like chased them out of Tavatinsa. So they kind of like fell down to a sort of place near the Mount Sumeru, and that's why we call it like they are still in a apayas, right? But they are very powerful beings, because we know there are a couple asuras, Vepachitti, Rahu, and there are such kind of very powerful asuras. But the thing is that they are always angry and jealous individuals, and they are, even though they are very powerful. So also, you know that there was a big fight between the devas in the Tavatinsa and the asuras, and what happened was that the Tavatinsa devas were almost going to be defeated. But then what happened, Buddha intervened, and, the Jagga Sutta in the Pali canon is a good place where you see this battle, and the devas in the Tavatinsa, they were very, much frightened, and Buddha taught them, instructed them to practice recollection of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, so that they could, get rid of the fears that come from the Asura side. But anyways, at the end, what we learn is that Tavatinsa devas and asuras made peace. That's when the head god called, head deva called Sakka married to the daughter of the the head asura called Vepachitti. I think her name was Suja. So Sakka married Suja, and then asuras and Tavatinsa, there was peace. But I think that's not a very popular, famous thing that a lot of people know. Anyways, so asura is also a part of apaya. So there are four realms in the apayas: Niraya, Tirachana, Yoni, animal kingdom; Petaloka, we call departed beings, including ghosts. Asura is demigods or asuras. And then this is where we are, manusas, right? So we are part of this Kamavachara realms. And then starting from the first heaven called Chatu Maharajiga, where we see the four world ruling deities, Dhritarashtra, Viruddha, Virupaksha, and Vesavana. Tavatinsa is the very famous and most influential heaven to the human world, because they are directly having connection to the human world. Tavatinsa, where we know head deva called Sakka lives with his retinue, and Yama is another higher heaven. Tusita is one of the very spiritual type of heaven where we know all the bodhisattvas supposed to be living. And Nimmana Rati is a place where we know some females, good females are supposed to be born, the Vishaka. Nimmana Rati. And Paranimita Vasavati is the highest heaven, but there is a Mara called Paranimita Vasavati. So anyways, so these are the apayas and heavens and the Manusaloka, where we know the karma vachara chittas are being used by the beings in all these realms. Please keep in mind, these heavens have super comforts, and these apayas have so much excruciating pains, I would say, discomfort. The best place to be born is Manusaloka, where you can attain Nibbana. So try to become a human. And if you are a human, as always, at the moment, try to attain Sotapanna. Okay, so now I'm going to go into The next slide, it's about the number of chittas or states of consciousness that the beings in the Karma-avachara realms, all these realms, I would say there are 6 heavens and Manusya-loka, and the 4 apayas that we see in the Karma-avachara realm. So all these beings, they in their own capacities, I can't say that the beings in apayas can have karma sobhan, I would say kusalas, but they also have the opportunity in some ways. So these beings in the Karma-avachara realms, they are experiencing these states of consciousness types. So the first is Akusala, the one that we're going to be discussing today. There are 12 Akusalas, and then there are 18 rootless, we call ahetuka chittas, and there are 24 kusala, I would say kama sobhana, that means kusala chittas. This is very interesting because a lot of people think that when you are born as a being in Karma-avachara realms, that most of the chittas you might have, is akusala or akusalas, but it's not true. Most of the states of consciousness, I would say chittas, they are beautifying. That means kusala type, chittas. So that's very interesting because it doesn't mean that you should not you should not try to do more good karmas, but it's very interesting to see that there are more opportunities to do kusala, execute kusala, create more kusala thoughts, chittas. Okay, now I'm going back to a question here. See it here. What is the purpose of discussing akusala chittas in the Abhidhamma? Okay, that's a very interesting question. Now, why do we want to learn akusala chittas in the Abhidhamma? There are 12 akusala chittas. The main reason is, if you know what the akusala chittas are, you have a better chance to stop them becoming, right? You are not trying to create akusala chittas because there are 8 lobha chittas, there are 2 dosa chittas, and there are 2 moha chittas. You will not create them so much. So you can keep you calm. You can stop creating akusalas. So that's the main thing. So why can't we learn this methodology from suttas? We don't see this kind of a very clear explanation about akusala chittas or any other chitta in the sutta Pitaka. That's why we must learn, these chittas, especially when it comes to akusala. And I also want to say that in our series, we are not going to talk about the Rupavachara, Arupavachara, and Lokottara chittas because they are not relevant to day-to-day life of any being, and especially for you. We will be talking them maybe at a later time. So our focus is only about Kamavachara chittas. Okay. So, and the next question is, how much does the understanding of akusala chittas in the Abhidhamma help us to attain Sotapanna? Very much. Because if you don't understand, the places where you are committing, where you are creating akusala thoughts, there will be a big problem, big hindrance to becoming a Sotapanna. Actually, at the end of this talk, I'm going to be talking to you that how these individual akusala chittas stop you becoming a Sotapanna. If you know that these are the places you have to sort of stop creating, you have a better chance in attaining Sotapanna. So it's all connected. Okay. Now let's move on to the slides back again. Okay. We talked up to this point. I'm going to go back once again about the reason why a lot of people can't understand Abhidhamma. and then we talk about 80, 89, this main classification of different chittas, and we only talk about Kamavachara in our series. And we talk about what are the Kamavachara realms where the being experience those 54, chittas. And then we also discuss about the contents of Kamavachara chittas, where we see a number of 54. There are 24 Kamasopana, 18 rootless ones, Ahetukas, and 12 Akusalas, which we will be talking today. Now we are moving on to the contents of the Akusala chittas. And you can see that there are 8 Lobha chittas, there are 2 Dosa chittas, there are 2 Moha chittas. Okay. Don't ask me why I chose these different colors, but I think Lobha is more likely green, Dosa is kind of red, Moha is kind of like, it's kind of a yellow kind of color. But anyways, so you need to understand the main contents, roots of Akusala chittas, they are Lobha, Dosa, and Moha. Okay, so that's the main interesting thing in here. Out of the 3 roots of where Akusala chittas are based on, you should understand that Lobha and Dosa, there are 8 Lobha chittas and there are 2 Dosa chittas. In the canon, especially in Abhidhamma too, we know that Lobha and Dosa cannot exist together. That means when you have Lobha, you won't have Dosa at the same time. When you have Dosa, you won't have Lobha at the same time. It could be either a development of Lobha, it could be either a place where you are still struggling. That's why Lobha and Dosa can coexist. I would also add that, this thing, when you are greedy, at the moment that you are greedy, you won't have Dosa. But if you are developing Lobha to a certain extent, you may have Dosa, vice versa. Now, a lot of people think that, even Lobha, Dosa, Moha are 3 separate roots, but there could be a connection, yes. Actually, even though Moha is a different root, but the underlying root of Lobha and Dosa is Moha. But the thing is that the function of Moha in Lobha and Dosa is subordinate, because the full-blown version of Moha is only with the Moha root called Moha. But even though Lobha and Dosa have Moha as an underlying root, that means when you have Lobha, you are becoming greedy because you have a sort of Moha. When you are angry, that means you are becoming angry because you are having this underlying root of Moha. That's why in some of the texts we see that this is called Lobha is called Lobha Moha, and Dosa is recognized as Dosa Moha, right? So that means there is already this belief that Lobha and Dosa, they both have Moha as an underlying root. But the thing is, you won't see Moha distinctively, but it is the root, in those 2 roots as an underlying root, which is subordinate. Okay, now we have come to the most important part of this discussion, the exact 12 contents of Akusala chittas. So there are 8 Lobha chittas, there are 2 Dosa chittas, there are 2 Moha chittas. So see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Lobhas, and 9, 10 is Dosas, 11, 12 is Mohas. Okay, I will first give you an introduction about these 8, and then discuss more about how they happen, how they arise, how they exist, how they go away, and what we can do, and what are the main things that we should understand in this. Okay, so the first state of consciousness, state of unwholesome consciousness, is somanasa sahagata ditthigata sampayukta asankarika chitta. Now, I also want to say why I, made some of the words in these kind of colors. So this color seems to be little dangerous, but this is a little better. Once again, this color is little dangerous. I mean the contents in those numbers, and this is a little better. This color is dangerous, and the rest of the things I can't say less dangerous, but those are the things that we have to be very much focused on. Okay, so out of the 8 loba chittas, why I have made a line here is that these 4 start from somanasa, but these 4 start from upekka. Now, I want to tell you, this upekka does not mean the lofty mental state that we know in the Sutta Pitaka. Now, in the Sutta Pitaka, we know upekka means equanimity. It is a part of 4 divine abodes, right? But it's not what this upekka means. This upekka means neutral feeling. Now, somanasa is pleasant feeling or happy feeling. Upekka is neutral feeling. And domanasa is unhappy or unpleasant feeling, painful feeling. And upekka means, once again, neutral feeling. Now, folks, you have to understand something very interesting. You will be greedy only when you are happy and neutral. Now see, somanasa, 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 upekka, 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 upekka. See, you will never be greedy when you are angry. That's the first thing that you need to understand before I'm going to discuss each by each. And when you come to domanasa, you will never be angry with a happy feeling or a neutral feeling. When it comes to moha, you will never be delusional, I would say, into moha when you are happy or when you are unhappy. But when you are neutral, when your feelings are neither pleasant nor unpleasant, you will be into moha. Okay, that's very interesting. So rather than you are trying to technically memorize all these 12 or whatever the numbers of the chittas, please understand how it applies to your daily life. That means when you are happy and when you are neutral, definitely loba arises within you. But loba will not arise when you are not happy, right? And the other thing, folks, the most important thing is upekka, the feeling called upekka, neutral feeling, affects most of the akusala chittas. That's why you can see number 5, 6, 7, 8. That means 4 of the loba chittas, and then 2 of the moha chittas. They come under upekka. That means upekka. So you will make more akusalas. You will make more akusalas when you are into upekka. Let me hide this. So you will make more akusalas when you are into neutral feeling. So as I told you at the beginning, when you are you will create loba when you are into somanasa. That means happy feelings and neutral feeling. You will never make loba when you are unhappy, and you will never make anger or a dosa when you are happy or when you are neutral. But you can see, because it is one of the often used words in the list of akusala thoughts, akusala chittas. upekka being the most interesting part of the akusala chittas. That means you have to be very careful. You will make more akusalas when you have a neutral type of feeling. You are neither pleasant nor unpleasant. That could be the place where you will make lot of akusala. Okay, and then we need to understand this part of the akusala thoughts, especially it comes from lobas. Ditthigata sampayutta, ditthigata sampayutta, ditthigata vipayutta, vipayutta, sampayutta, sampayutta, vipayutta. What does it mean? And here you will see patika sampayutta, vichikicha sampayutta, and uddacha sampayutta. Now, ditthigata sampayutta means that you have wrong view. That means you have miccā ditti. And ditthigata vipayutta means you have samma ditti. That means you can still make akusala thoughts. You can create akusala thoughts when you have either miccā ditti or samma ditti. That's something very interesting. How does it happen? Now, for example, I would give an example to this first one. Somanasa sahagata ditthigata sampayutta asankarika means, asankarika sasankarika means how, does this particular akusala chitta get happen. It happens either you are being prompted or you are not being prompted, unprompted. So the first chitta happens when you are unprompted. The second one prompted. So asankarika sasankarika means prompted and unprompted motivation. Now let's take an example for the first one. So the example is, now, somanasa sahagata means with joy, that means happiness. Ditthigata sampayutta, I would say with joy, holding the view that there is no evil in stealing. Now, let's say this example. See the example? Somebody is trying to steal an apple or a mango, but that person does not believe in the repercussions, bad repercussions of stealing. That means he or she has miccā ditti, but still she wants to steal this mango. So, and then she steals the mango, but he knows that stealing is bad, but still wants to steal. So that kind of a mentality, a thought, is this first one. The second one, the other difference is that with joy, holding the view that there is no evil in stealing, that is ditthigata sampayutta, where that person has no miccā ditti. Asankarika, that person is not being prompted by other people. He's not prompted. So he's gonna steal that particular mango. So with joy, with miccā ditti, without being prompted, that person is gonna steal. But in the second one, this person is gonna do the same stealing, but being prompted. Okay. But in here, the third one and the fourth one, let's take the same example. With joy, with samma ditti. That means he knows that this is bad. Stealing is bad, but still wants to steal. Right? Being unprompted, asankarika. The fourth one, sasankarika. That means he still want to do it, but by knowing that this is bad, but being prompted by other people. Right? So if you take a closer look at these four, this is something that can happen to all of us in our daily life, because there are multiple akusalas. We know there are 10 akusalas. So the ways and means how we execute or create those akusalas could be in one of the ways of this. Now, for example, I would say sometimes you might perhaps know that this is bad. Sometimes you might not know. You might not want to think that this is bad. So in other words, I would say you are kind of rationalizing when it comes to miccā, when it comes to when it comes to samma ditti. Here someone might ask, how come this person can still steal? Because this person has still samma ditti. But the problem is this person rationalizes the particular stealing with the sammaditi. I don't care. Maybe I know it, but still, it's an akusala thought. In here, this person can rationalize in the first one and the second one. In the third one, fourth one, this person rationalizes this stealing is not bad, so I'm gonna make it happen. Okay. So now you understand these first four akusala chittas. Now I made a line here because the fifth one goes from upekka, neutral feeling. Upekka sahagata ditthigata sampayutta. Now you know the meanings of ditthigata sampayutta, right? With wrong view, ditthigata vipayutta is with right view, sama ditti, wholesome view. But still, this person is gonna do this part, ditthigata sampayutta asankarika, ditthigata vipayutta, ditthigata sampayutta asankarika, ditthigata sampayutta sasankarika, ditthigata vipayutta asankarika, ditthigata vipayutta sasankarika. They all come under upekka too, but the difference is that your feeling is neutral. You are not happy, but still you're gonna make that happen. You're gonna make that stealing happen. So folks, you have to understand that the most important thing is that your chittas are rooted in lobha when you see how these 8 types of chittas arise within you. Lobha will arise within you only when you are happy and neutral, as well as when you are into sammaditi or micchaditi, as well as when you are prompted and unprompted. So the easiest way to tackle down the lobha, according to this teaching, is that you have to be very careful when you are happy and when you are neutral. That's the place where you will create lobha chittas. Also, you have to be very careful about this sammaditi and micchaditi. Ditthigata sampayutta means micchaditi, ditthigata vipayutta is sammaditi. Your mentality when you can create a lobha thought, because when you know that this is bad, that's in a way it's little understandable too. But when you don't know, it's a different thing. So in here, ditthigata vipayutta means that you are rationalizing that stealing is no problem, right? So it's pretty bad. So that's very interesting in understanding lobha chittas. Let me go back to the notes here. Okay. Lobha arises only when you are happy. 4 kinds of somanassa events that I told you, and neutral upekka, that means 4 kind of upekka events, and not when you are unhappy, because you will become angry when you are unhappy, and you will create 2 dosa thoughts, chittas, when you are unhappy. That when you are into lobha, you will create lobha only when you are happy and neutral. Lobha with somanassa is more dangerous than with upekka. Why is it? Because let's say the same example, somebody's gonna steal, and stealing with happiness, which is pretty bad. And somebody's stealing with upekka, that means neutral, no happiness, but just stealing is a little better, but it doesn't mean that stealing is good. But when you look at lobha with somanassa and upekka, somanassa, type of stealing or any akusala activity is worse than upekka type of akusala thing. But the both is not good. But I'm trying to sort of like emphasize those 2. And then again, lobha with micchaditti, ditthigata sampayutta, is more dangerous than other types of lobha. That means in here, I'll show you. Okay. In here. Okay, so Loba with Dittigata Sampayutta. There are two, and there are two here. They are more dangerous than Dittigata uh, Vipayutta, right? Because this has Michaditi, right? So we talk about that Somanasa is worse than Upekka, because Upekka is neutral. When someone creates a bad Loba with happiness, it's worse than Upekka. And also when someone is executing, creating a Loba thought with Michaditti, it's worse than someone who is having the same thing with Sammaditi. Okay. See, you create more loba when you are neutral, right? As I said earlier, you have to be very careful when you are neutral, when you are happy. That they are the moments where you will create loba thoughts. What is basically sammaditi and ditthigata vipayutta? There are two meanings. Now, believes in one's own karma is the sammaditi for non-Buddhist believers as well as the Buddhist believers. And someone who is Buddhist, he or she should have this one too, does not hold to a view or a self, right? So sammaditi basically means believing in one's own karma and doesn't hold to a view or a self. And so manasa, we know su manas, good mind. Do manasa is bad mind. And loba is to cling, look. The Sanskrit, the Pali root is look, to cling or attach. And loba basically means ranging. I mean, the range of loba could be from a subtle point to a kind of a intensified, like a bigger version of loba, ranging from intense passion to subtle liking or attachment, right? Somebody could be very much attached to something, and somebody might have a subtle kind of liking. They all are loba, right? And this is very interesting, Dhamma friends. In the lower chittas, we have to see three type of things. We are called concomitant factors. Now, which you call feeling, view, type of motivation. Feeling is Vedana, either Somanasa or Upekka. View is Ditthigata Sampayutta or Ditthigata Vipayutta. Type of motivation means Asankarika or Sasankarika. Now, I want to tell you what is Sasankarika and Asankarika once again with different, insights. Sankhara is the sort of word that is inside of this particular Sankarika words. Sankhara means formations. So you are creating sankharas at the end with any thought, right? Any chittas, either akusala in here or ahetuka in the next one, and then kamasobana in the third one. Regarding the chittas. So you are creating sankharas anyways, right? So the way that how you are creating sankhara is called sasankarika and asankarika. It could be sasankarika, that means, asankarika, that means you are not prompted by somebody, you are creating your own loba, but somebody else might be affecting you. Hey, you know what, let's steal, let's do this bad thing, let's take revenge, and that's called sasankarika. That means somebody is prompting you, right? So we have to be very careful, because these akusala thoughts, especially with regard to loba, they happen based on three concomitant factors. The first one is either somanasa or upekka. That means either when you are happy or when you are neutral, or when you have sammaditi or michaditi. Now, actually, sammaditi basically means you are rationalizing what you do, the bad thing, which is pretty bad too, and type of motivation called either sasankarika, prompted, or asankarika, unprompted. And you can see the same thing even in the dosa chittas, because you can see domanasa, and then let me see time. Okay, Okay, so you can see the same, concomitant factors. I would go back to Loba once again to show you. Somanasa is the feeling factor. Ditthigata Sampayutta, Vipayutta, they are called the view factor. And Asankarika, Sasankarika means the motivation factor. What kind of a motivation you will get to execute this bad or good thought, right? When you go to dosa chitta, you still see the same thing, but here domanassa means displeasure. Patiga is what we call the view, that means hatred, and asankarika, sasankarika, that means the motivation factor. But when you come to moha, you don't see one factor. That means you won't see asankarika and sasankarika factors at the end, because there are a lot of debates going on about why the moha chittas don't have this prompted and unprompted factor. It's because moha chittas are intrinsic, natural. You don't need to get prompted. It's natural. Okay, now I think you understand what we call biloba chittas. And let me see. When we are moving on to the dosa, there are three types of dosa chittas. What we call domanas sahagata patika sampayutta and domanas sahagata patika sampayutta, asankarika and sasankarika. Now we know domanas means dus, it derives from dus verb stem, to be displeased, that means displeasure, unpleasant feeling. And patiga is striking against, you are going to strike against for something that you really want because you are kind of angry, irritated. And what's the range of patiga? Patiga includes all degrees of aversion, from violent rage to subtle irritation. This is pretty interesting, right? So people are getting annoyed, irritated on a daily basis, and all type of irritations, all type of annoyances, starting from subtle version to that, that kind of a higher type of aversion, they all come under dosa. So when you are irritated, you are creating dosa thoughts. Let's take a look at these two. Okay. So you will have two dosa thoughts. They happen when you are only unhappy, domanassa. When you are happy, you are neutral, you won't make dosa, anger or hatred. And you will definitely have patiga. Patiga is hatred, and then you will be unprompted or prompted. So what you have to understand is that you will be creating dosa thoughts when you are unhappy, as well as when you are into hatred. And this can happen naturally on your own, or being prompted by other people. Okay. And you see that in the dosa chittas, you won't see micchaditti. So dosa chittas don't associate micchaditti, but it only associate hatred. That's why I said at the beginning that moha is the underlying version. So there is a kind of micchaditti, but it's not very blown out. It's not very shown on the surface level. But the main thing that you can see in the dosa thought is patiga, that means hatred. Okay. And then we are moving on to the moha chittas. Now there are two moha chittas. You can see upekka sahagata vichikicca sampayutta chitta, which has no sankarika. Upekka sahagata uddacha sampayutta chitta, there is no sankarika, sasankarika. Now you know these two terms, vichikicca and uddacha, under pancha nivarana, but this has a bigger meaning. Plus, this uddacha has no kukucha too, right? This is uddacha. Uddacha is a very basic distraction, right? And it's one of the very important elements of moha. So let me tell you, what is moha? Okay, let's see. Moha derives from the verb stem called muk. Muk is to delude. Muk. And now this term, what we call momuha chitta, involving sheer delusion, is what we can see in most of the Abhidhamma books. It doesn't say moha chitta, it says momuha chitta. What is momuha chitta? Now, as we know, in the lobha chittas and the dosa chittas, there is an underlying what you call moha. But when it comes to moha chitta, the moha is called momuha, where we see involving sheer delusion. It has the full-blown delusion, in the moha. That's why it's called momuha chitta. So when I would say when the moha chitta is described in the Abhidhamma, it is said that moha is said to be momuha and not just the moha. Now, it's pretty interesting. In the Abhidhammic analysis, it is said that this 12th chitta, moha chitta, called upekka sahagata uddacha. Now, vicikiccha is doubts, uddacha is restlessness. This chitta exists in all the other chittas. That means upekka sahagata uddacha sampayutta chitta exists in 8 lobha chittas and 2 dosa chittas, as well as the 11th one called upekka sahagata vicikiccha sampayutta chitta in a subordinate way. Because your mind is restless, that's when you are creating lobha chittas. That means restlessness, right? When your mind is restless, then you only make yourself angry and you are into hatred. That's why this 12th one exists in all the other akusala chittas, but in the 12th one, it has the full blown out, full blown, the larger version of restlessness regarding the process of the 12 akusala chittas. Now, as I said, in the lobha dosa chittas, moha doesn't have this sankharik, sasankharik, asankharik element. That means it's not prompted or unprompted. They're intrinsic. And I also talk about the momuha, the word called momuha. Momuha has another meaning, and it means an intensification of moha. That means the moha is not momuha. Momuha means an intensification. Your moha is intensified by momuha. That's what we call 2 momuha chittas. Now let's take a look at what does vicikiccha and uddacha simply mean once again. Now, we know vicikiccha means doubts. There are 8 types of doubts, but in here, basically, it means, vexation due to the perplexed thinking, because when you are doubtful, you are vexed most of the time, so because of your perplexed thinking, and you never know the remedy of what to do. You don't have the knowledge of what to do. So these 2 consist in the vicikiccha, so that you won't be able to understand what to do. That's when we see vicikiccha, is a place where your momuha chitta is arriving. So when you have more momuha, then what happens? You are coming to a point where you have these 8 doubts, and then you will become perplexed in your thinking and you will be vexed. Plus, you won't have the required knowledge of how to get out of the situation, right? So as a result of that, what will happen to you is that you will be into perplexity, skepticism, indecisiveness due to this prevalence of delusion from momuha. And when it comes to uddacha, it's very interesting. As I told you, this uddacha, restlessness, is found in all the 12 akusala chittas, but is relatively weak in all these 11, excluding the 12th one, which has the word itself, which has uddacha, and its function is weak, and in the first 12. But the last akusala chitta has the full-blown version of Uddacha. That means the 12 Akusala Chitta, which has this saying, Upekka Sahagata Uddacha Sampayutta Chitta, has the full-blown version of, your moha. Or I would say Uddacha, restlessness is high. Your restlessness is very high in the 12th one. So that's also very interesting to understand. So they are the most important parts of these 12 Akusala thoughts. And finally, I want to tell you these things, these insights to summarize. You will create lobha only when you are happy and neutral. You won't create lobha when you are not unhappy. When you are unhappy. So you will create lobha only when you are happy and only when you are neutral. And lobhas which you create when you are happy are more dangerous than the lobhas when you are neutral. That means, let's say, when you are happy and you are creating lobha, they are more dangerous than the lobhas when you are creating when you are neutral, because you have happiness to do the lobha. And the lobhas you are creating when you have sammaditthi is more dangerous, because you know that what you are doing and you are sort of rationalizing what you are doing. Let's say that person knows stealing is bad, slandering is bad, lying is bad, killing is bad, misbehaving is bad, taking intoxicant and other things so that one's consciousness will go is bad. But still, that person wants to rationalize, okay, I want to do this, okay, and doesn't matter. That's more dangerous than the lobhas when you are doing without samadhi, because you don't even know, you don't rationalize. The moment you rationalize, you are creating more akusala thoughts. That means more dangerous repercussions. And you can see that when you take a look at all the 12 akusalas, especially lobha chittas, 8 lobha chittas, 2 dosa chittas, and 2 moha chittas, they are called the main 12 types of akusala thoughts. You will create more of the akusala thoughts when you are neutral. That's why you see there are 4 neutral feelings involved with the lobha and 2 neutral feelings involved with the moha. So there are 6. And you will create akusala thought. You will create 4 akusala thoughts when you are happy. Somana, there are 4 somanas akusalas that comes under lobha in the first 4. And you will create 2 akusala chittas when you are unhappy, when you are irritated. So you will create more akusalas when you are neutral. Be careful. When you are not angry, when you are not happy, that could be the place where you will create more akusalas. But I mean, you will create akusalas, proportionately. But the thing is, you have to be very careful. And with that thing, I also want to say that we are doing more akusalas with upekka. That means not that lofty upekka in the sutta teachings we call upekka to be the state of balance, but this upekka means neutral. So when you have neutral feelings, you will make more akusalas. That's something you have to be very careful in your daily life. When you are not happy, when you are happy, these places could be still making you do bad karma. But the thing is, you will create more akusala thoughts when you are neutral. And also, I want to say, every thought that we have been talking so far, we've been talking 12 akusala thoughts, they cannot arise without cetasikas, that which we'll be talking at a later time. But there are 7 universal cetasikas which we call sabbajita sadharana, and there are 6 optional cetasikas. They should intervene. Chittas to form the bigger impact. So that means you need to understand what the Cetasikas also in a later discussion. But keep in mind, Chitta and Chaitasika, they both arise together, they stay together, they cease together, they take the same object. So then we have to understand Chitta with Cetasika. I did not talk about Cetasika today because we're going to be talking Cetasika in a different lesson. But still, you can understand how you're going to make Akusala thoughts. When you're happy, unhappy, neutral, when you have Sammaditthi, Michchaditthi, where you rationalize, when you are prompted or not prompted. These are the main important concomitant factors. Okay, so these are the main things that I wanted to share with you. I think I want to kind of give some examples before I wrap this up for all the 12 Akusala thoughts. Let me do that. Okay. Somanassa Sahagata Ditthigata Okay, there are 8 Lobha Chittas, 4 are Somanassa, 4 are Upekka. Now I'm going to give you some examples to understand these 8 in a better way. Somanassa Sahagata Ditthigata Sampayutta Asankarika Chitta. That means, let me give you just better understanding. 1, consciousness, state of consciousness, accompanied by joy, associated with wrong view, unprompted. The example is, with joy, holding the view that there is no evil in stealing, a boy spontaneously steals a mango from a fruit stall. Okay. Second, Somanassa Sahagata Ditthigata Sampayutta Sasankarika Chitta. That means, 1, same thing, 1 consciousness accompanied by joy, associated with wrong view, prompted, being prompted by somebody. So the same boy does the same stealing a mango, but prompted by a friend. Third one, Somanassa Sahagata Ditthigata Vipayutta Asankarika Chitta. That means, 1 consciousness accompanied by joy, dissociated from wrong view, unprompted. That means, the boy steals the same mango without wrong view. That means the boy rationalizes stealing is no problem, but just by oneself, not being prompted. The fourth one called Somanassa Sahagata Ditthigata Vipayutta Sasankarika Chitta. The meaning is 1 consciousness accompanied by joy, dissociated from wrong view, prompted. That means the boy still steals a mango from the fruit stall by rationalizing, this is no problem, but being prompted by somebody. Okay, Upekka means 1 consciousness accompanied by equanimity or neutral feeling, associated with wrong view, unprompted. So the same boy steals a mango with wrong view and not being prompted. Okay. And then the fifth one, the sixth one, Upekka Sahagata Ditthigata Sampayutta Sasankarika. The boy does the same stealing with wrong view. Also, with equanimity, I would say neutral feeling, but being prompted. The seventh one, Upekka Sahagata Ditthigata Vipayutta Asankarika Chitta. That means 1 consciousness accompanied by equanimity, dissociated from wrong view, and unprompted. That means she rationalizes the sort of stealing, but she has the neutral feeling. But the thing is that she knows that this is bad, but still won't rationalize. The eighth one, Upekka Sahagata Ditthigata Vipayutta Sasankarika Chitta. That means the same boy steals a mango from the fruit stall with this neutral feeling, but by rationalizing as well as being prompted by a friend, somebody. Dosa mula chittas, domanassa sahagata patika sampayutta asankarika chitta. That means one, consciousness accompanied by displeasure associated with aversion unprompted. That means this is done with displeasure or with a unpleasant feeling, but this is the most important part. Patika is there, aversion, and then this is not prompted. One does on his or her own. And the second thing is the 10th one, chitta, akusala chitta or dosa mula chitta, is the same thing as in the 9, but it's being prompted. And when you come to moha, and the example is that with hatred, one man steals another one in spontaneous fit of rage, and the same stealing happens. I would say with hatred, one man steals in spontaneous fit of rage, and the second one is the same bad thing but being prompted by a friend. And the 11th one, which is the first of moha chittas, upekka sahagata vichikicca sampayutta chitta. That means one consciousness accompanied by neutral feeling associated with doubt, and then this one associated with restlessness, and there is no sankarika, no prompting from anybody is natural. Okay, so friends, I think you learned these 8 akusala chittas today, and I hope that rather you understand these 12 akusala chittas, which have 8 lobhas and 2 dosas and 2 mohas as a technical term, as technical things. Try to understand the bigger meaning of these. What is somanassa and domanassa and upekka, and where will we become somanassa, domanassa, and upekka, and let's figure out those are the places where we will be into lobha or dosa or moha. And let's also look at whether we rationalize lobha, dosa, moha. Also, let's take a look at whether we are being prompted or unprompted. So if you know these concomitant factors, vedana part, ditti part, and asankarika part, that means feeling part, and view part, and then the motivation part, right? If you know these 3 concomitant factors, you will learn how to stop your akusala thoughts. And finally, let's take a look at how these akusala chittas are related to Sotapannas, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahant noble individuals. So when someone's get rid of the first, second, fifth, sixth, and 11th akusala thoughts, that person is already a Sotapanna person. That means I would say in here, first, second, fifth, sixth, and 11th vichikicca, that person will become a Sotapanna. If someone can get rid of, when someone is into Sakadagami, that person sort of attenuates, his 9, 10, 10, right? Patika and Kamaraga. And then when someone attains Anagami, that person, get rid of this 9, 10, Patika and Kamaraga. There is no Kamaraga, but we have Patika. Kamaraga is part of Lobha as well, completely. And when you become an Arahant, you will get rid of this Uddacha, which is the dominant factor in all the thoughts, in all these 12 akusala thoughts completely. Because this thing called Uddacha is what we understand by mental distraction. Because we are mentally distracted, we are into lobhas, we are into dosas or so more. So this is what we need to look at seriously to get rid of our distractions. Okay, so I think I hope that you learn an insight about these 12 akusala thoughts, and I hope that you will understand these Akusala thoughts in your day-to-day life, and then make your day-to-day life a better place by using these in your practical in these practical ways, rather than just keeping them as technical memorizing factors thing. Oh, Abhidhamma, I know Abhidhamma. Not that I know Abhidhamma. I know how to practice Abhidhamma in my daily life. So next week we're going to be talking 18, I think, rootless consciousness, Ahitapachittas. So stay tuned for that, and have a good morning and have a good night to all of you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you.